Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Vijender Singh Tamar, Associate Professor in English. Presently, I have been posted at Government College, Buddha in Jhansi district. In the series of video lectures, today's lecture is meant for Class BA Part 3rd, English Literature, Paper 2nd, the famous story by Premchand, The Shroud. In today's topic, which I have chosen or which is based on this story, is compare and contrast the characters of Ghisu and Madhav, which appear in this story, which are regarded as immortal, detestable characters in English literature. Not in English, actually this poem, this story was written in Hindi. It was translated into English. We will learn about it when we will learn about the story. So this is the beginning of notes or video lecture on paper 2nd, and this is the first lecture on paper 2nd. The name of the story is The Shroud. In Hindi it is Kafan. First, let us know about the author. The author is popularly known by the name as Munshi Premchand. Actually, his real name was Dhanpat Rai Srivastav. He was born on 31st July 1880 and died on October 8, 1936. He was a well-known writer of Hindi and Urdu language. He used to write his stories, essays, novels, poetry in both the languages. Some of his famous works are Gaban, Godan, and Rangbhumi. His short stories were collected under the title Mansarovar. He used to write his stories or poetry or novels on the social issues. In other words, he highlighted issues of social concern, such as the plight of child widows, that is the condition of child widows. At that time, it was very serious issue in the society. Condition of prostitutes, landless laborers, and peasants. But his work is noted for the picture of humanity that he presents not just for social issues, but he highlights. That is, in his works, we find that humanity is present everywhere. Human beings are presented with all their weaknesses and strengths. The latter may not have the same relevance today, but the characters that are found in his works are just as alive today as they were when his works were first published. What is the meaning of this sentence is that he has presented characters which were present in the past and which are present in the present also. We can see such type of people around us at any place, in any country, in any era. Munshi Premchand also wrote plays and did some translations. Many of his stories have been translated into English and Russian. The present is an example which has been translated in English by Rakshanda Jalil. The main characteristics of his writing is his interesting storytelling. The way he tells the story entrapped or made the listener or audience spellbound to listen or read attentively his story. And moreover, he uses simple language. He himself That is Munshi Premchand called literature a work that expresses the truths and experience of life impressively. The present story, which has been entitled The Shroud, in Hindi it was entitled Kafan, is one of the most famous stories of Premchand, that is Munshi Premchand. It is his last story. It has been translated from Hindi into English by Rakshanda Jalil and Hafu Collins. In this story, the author has created two of the most detestable characters to be found in the world of literature. Means these two characters whom we hate, whom we cannot appreciate, but these characters have made for themselves a niche in the world of literature, a place for themselves in the world of literature. And these two characters are Ghisu and Madhav, a father and his son. Ghisu is the father and Madhav is the son. They are highly irresponsible. Means they do not have any kind of accountability. They are poor and lazy, uncaring about their own welfare as well as that of their family. Means they are such kind of people whom nobody would like. Highly irresponsible. Accountability does not touch them. Not only for themselves, but even their family members. And when the story begins, or the author starts the story, abruptly, the situation is there is a hut, there is a village, there is a hut, and outside the hut, these two characters, that is, Ghisu and Madhav, are sitting. And near them, there is a dead fire. And inside the hut, Budhya, the wife of Madhav, is experiencing labor pain. She is crying. She is requiring medical help. As she is going to deliver a child, she needs some medical help or some expert or at least a lady from the village near her so that she can be taken care of. But nothing of this kind happened in the story. Both the father and the son, they are sitting outside the hut and they do not try to do any kind of arrangement for her health. Madhav even does not go inside to have a look at his wife in this situation. The problem arises because his father Ghisu asked him, his son Madhav, to go inside and to sit near his wife Budhya and try to give moral support or any kind of help. But Madhav does not go inside. Why? Because he is most irresponsible person. He says, if she has to die, why doesn't she get it over and done with? What can I do by looking at her? Means this is a kind of statement by a husband whose wife is experiencing labor pain. You can imagine what kind of person he is. Moreover, he wishes that she should die immediately so that they can go to bed peacefully in the night. This is a, you can say, image, or this is the mental attitude of these two characters. In means account as far as accountability towards their family member is concerned. Here, however, Gisu mentioned that when his wife was about to die, he remained in her company for 3 days to look after her. But the son does not follow his father in this regard. The other kind of characteristics of these characters is they are great shirkers. That is, they do not want to do any work. They are well known in the entire village for being highly irresponsible laborers. Gisu is notorious for working for 1 day and taking off for 3 days. Means if he gets some money, he will not come next 3 days. He will enjoy. Like father, like son. Madhav is such a shirker that if he worked for a half an hour, he would stop and smoke his pipe for an hour. So both of them seldom get work in the village because their characteristics are well known. Their natures are well known to the village people, so they do not employ them. And if they even a handful of grain in the house, they will not work at all. After a couple of days starvation, Gisu will go into the jungle, will collect some twigs for firewood from the jungle, and his son, that is Madhav, will sell them in the market and they will collect some money so that they can eat. As long as the money lasts, they do not work. This is their quality. Though they are poor, yet they do not want to do any kind of work. They do as little work as they can do. They have few things to support their lives in their home. They have only tattered rags to cover their nakedness. They do not have even good clothes to wear. They are under debt. Means they have taken money from many people and they have not returned. Despite these requirements, they do not want to work. They often receive beatings and invectives from the villagers. Why? Because they take money, they borrow money from people and they do not return. They are abused, they are beaten by the villagers. People occasionally lend them money without expecting to have their money back. They resort to stealing to satisfy their hunger. They often steal some potatoes or peas from someone's fields, eat them after roasting, or pluck half a dozen sugar canes to suck at night. Means they do not have any kind of good image in the, we can say, whole village. People do not trust them. And this is not the first time they are behaving in this way. Gisu, who is now 60 years old, he has been leading happy-go-lucky existence for 60 years. Means throughout his life, he has behaved in the same way. Madhav, like a dutiful son, is following in his father's footsteps and trying to give an extra sign to his father's name. That is, he is trying to go 2 steps ahead of his father's image. It is not that there is lack of work in the village. There is a lot of work if a person wants to do. He can get job or work in the village easily. But they are people who do not want to do work. It is a village of farmers and there are plenty of routine tasks for hard-working people. In fact, there are leeches, we can say leeches, who want to live by exploiting others. When Budhya was alive, she got married 1 year ago. She used to work hard, earn some money, but these two shameless wretches did not mend themselves. She worked hard, she earned money, and when she was in need, they did not help her. Even her sport, Budhya's sport, this has made them lazier than ever. If somebody wants to hire them for some work, they ask for double the normal wages. They do not get work because whenever somebody wants to give them job and consults them or asks them to do some work for in the field or somewhere else, they ask that they will charge double wages. This is how they avoid doing any work. Both now coming to the present moment, as Budhya is passing or experiencing labor pain, she is experiencing that kind of pain which cannot be even imagined by us. But both of them keep sitting carelessly outside their hut while Budhya is passing through the intolerable pain inside. They eat roasted potatoes which have been stolen from some neighbor's field, and they eat them greedily without allowing them to cool. And in this process, they get their tongue hurt, but they do not care about it. Gisu, instead of concentrating on Budhya's pain, fondly remembers the feast at the time of Thakur's wedding 20 years ago, how he was offered various kind of dishes and he ate everything, more than 50 puris, etc., etc. He tells his son. And he also tells his son that at that time he had a hearty meal of delicious dishes in plenty, and that was the first time in his life he ate that kind of food. And when this was discussed between father and son, both of them feel sorry that such feasts are now rarely given. And rich people like to hoard money instead of spending on such feasts. They are so irresponsible that they do not know the exact time of Budhya's death. We know Budhya was experiencing intolerable pain and she died in the night. Both of them slept outside, and when in the morning when they got up, Madhav went inside the hut, looked at the body of Budhya and came to know that she is dead. When she died, it was not known to them. They come to know about it only in the morning when Madhav enters the hut. Now see the situation. This is the main, you can say, theme of this story. When a person dies, it is a custom that he or she or dead body is given a shroud. But these two people do not have money to perform the last rites of Budhya. So they go to Jamidar, the landlord of the village, to beg some money. And they tell lies and say that whatever little money they had has been spent on her care and medicines. Jamidar or the landlord knew them very well. He did not have any sympathy for them. But to protect the image of the village, he gave some money or 2 rupees to them to perform the last rites of Budhiya. And when Zamindar gave, they knew very well how to extract more money from the important people of the village. They started saying that Zamindar has given 2 rupees, so some gave 2 annas, some 4 annas, etc., etc. And in this way, they were able to collect 5 rupees. Then they go to the market in the town to buy a shroud for Budhiya. On reaching the market, they start discussing the futility of buying a shroud. They criticize this custom. They became philosophical and started discussing or concentrating on the issue of philosophical level. They remark, the shroud gets burnt along with the corpse, doesn't it? Means it is of no use to give shroud to a dead body. They decide to purchase a cheap shroud for it will get burned along with the corpse. Cheap in the sense, very, very cheap, which is almost available for at no price. They try to find a cheap shroud at various shops, but they are unable to select a cloth which meets their approval, because they almost wanted that somebody should give them free. They spend so much time in deciding and discussing that it is already dusk. That is evening. Why some here, as these laborers have some kind of weaknesses, so our author now looking the whole situation from that point of view, he says, by some divine inspiration, they find themselves at the door of a toddy house. Toddy house means bar, shop of wine, where wine is available, is sold. By unspoken mutual consent, they enter in it. Gisu orders a bottle of wine, some snacks and fried fish. And they started drinking wine. After gulping down several cups in a row, the two becomes quite pleasurably drunk. That is, now they are the real king of the world. So, as under the intoxication, they thought that they are the great person, they can take or think over various issues. They started discussing the utility of a shroud for a dead person. Jesus said, what's the point of placing a shroud over her? After all, it gets burnt along with the corpse. It is not likely to go with her to her next abode, where she will go after death. Shroud will not go. So it is no use to spend money on shroud. The result is that they started spending the rest of the money on other eatables, and they also had a hearty meal. Madhav and Ghisu, they ate puris and other eatable items which they never thought of the money which was given by the villagers to do the last rites of Budhiya. And Madhav gives the leftover puris to a beggar and feels the pleasure of giving something for the first time. Even after they have squandered, that is wasted, spent the money, Ghisu and Madhav trust that the villager will provide a shroud once again. The meaning is, now they do not care about the last rites of Budhiya. They know very well that if the villagers would have to protect their image in the society. They themselves will again arrange everything to perform the last rites of their dead corpse, that is Budhya. At the present, both father and son bless Budhya and pray to God to take her to heaven. They guzzle down their drink, and the onlooker in the town, the people who saw them, consider them a pair of lucky people. They are very rich people. They are drinking wine, and they are such a great people. See, in the world of human beings, the reality is something different, and the image is different. People judges people from their outward activities. Suddenly, Madhav becomes emotional and sage, or he puts a question to his father. But father, the poor woman suffered all her life. She faced such hardship before death took her. Saying this, he begins to weep. Gisu, his father, consoles him by saying, now see the philosophy, or what kind of mentality or rationalizing they have. What is the good of crying, my son? Means if you will weep over her death, it is of no use. You should be happy that she is free of this world of Maya, that she has escaped this web of illusion. She was indeed fortunate to break free from moral ties of this life. He gives a philosophical lecture to his son that he should not weep and feel any kind of pain on the loss of his wife. Then they begin to sing an old ballad and dance by moving round and round in the bar. In the end, both of them fall down in a drunken stupor. Now, the consensus of these two lichis, which we may treat as a single aspect due to similarity of their characters, work on a shallower level, means at a, not a deep level, but on a surface level. Gisu and Madhav do not fear it. They do not fear their conscience because it has touched them so often. They will become habitual. Now they are not affected by it. For example, a doctor who has seen so many deaths that he remains unaffected by one more death. Similarly, they have seen such kind of, they have passed such kind of experiences of beating, abusive language, that they have become practical. They do not care about such things now. They have received beatings and invectives with such regularity that the prospect does not frighten them. They are cold and sit in front of their house listening to the agony of a dying woman, thinking only of the social obstacles the death will create. They are not emotionally attached, but they think of other things. The fear of God's justice does present an obstacle to Gisu and Madhav. They are afraid of God's justice, but one that is easily overcome by drunken rationalizing. But when they drink, they think God, okay, we will handle that. Madhav's concern about meeting his dead wife, Budhya, in heaven represents a brief show of independence in his character. But again, it is a whimsical fear stemming from popular religious imagery and it is quickly forgotten. That is, once he thinks about that he has not done what he was expected to do, and he will see his wife in heaven, they will be facing each other, will be punished like this, but come into his mind this idea, and it will disappear from his mind. However, Gisu appears to be more caring for his wife, as he says that when his wife died, he did not move from her side for 3 days. On the contrary, Madhav does not enter the cottage or hut to look after his wife Budhya. Moreover, he thinks that if he moves from there, his father will finish off most of the potatoes. In a word, he values potatoes more than his wife. Madhav says that if there is a birth of a baby, there is no ginger, sugar or oil that one needs for such occasions. His father assures him that people around them will give rupees to help them. Gisu is superstitious and thinks that Budhya is suffering the agony of childbirth under the spell of some sea devil. In conclusion, it may be said that the character of Gisu and Madhav are identical. They are similar. They resemble each other very much. Both of them have many similarities. Both of them are great shirkers, highly irresponsible and heartless fellows. Means you can say leaving one or two characteristics, rest of the characteristics or qualities are same in father and son, like father, like son, are similar. However, they have some differences also. Gisu is superstitious, comparatively more reasonable than Madhav. Both of them have faced the same kind of situation in their lives. Gisu's wife also died when he was young, and Madhav's wife also died in the present, the main story you can say. But their response is different. Gisu spent time in the company of his wife, whereas Madhav even did not go inside the hut to look at her. He did not offer any kind of help. He did not arrange any kind of medical help, even in her labor pain. But they have so many similarities between their characters that they can be termed as two lichis created in fiction in the form of human beings by Munshi Prem Chand. Thank you very